Howard Finkel tells the audience it's nearly time for the main event, and looks slightly concerned as they go into riot level shouting. Billy Martin gets a standing ovation when announces the ring announcer and is dressed to the absolute nines for the role. Credit where credit is due, getting a local famous sportsman to appear instead of some random dude from the other side of the country was a simple but effective plan. Martin looks really happy to be there and thanks the fans for being the best in the world, which I can't help but think every manager of every sports team in every country all over the world says to their fans. So while meant sincerely, feels a little dry. Howard Finkel audibly helps Billy Martin out, but that's understandable, and complete with the Rockettes is the official timekeeper, Liberace. Here comes Liberace, and he looks honestly overjoyed to be dancing with them in the ring. The audience reacts quite well, and here comes Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali received a tremendous reaction from the audience, and rightly so. It's worth noting that Ali was one of the most exceptional boxers in history, and to see him get such a reaction several years after his professional retirement is heartwarming. Ali fought as hard as he could in the ring for as long as his body could keep up with him. His boxing IQ was at unprecedented levels, and his speed was bordering on ludicrous. By this point, Ali had retired after noticeably declining in the ring, including a loss and rematch win against Leon Spinks, before losing badly to Larry Holmes, the first stoppage of his career when his corner threw in the towel between rounds. After one last crack at the whip, seeing him lose a decision to Trevor Berbick, he would decide to retire and manage fighters and engage in charitable work and exhibitions, continuing to do these exhibitions until 1993, where his physical health declined even further. At this point, Ali was already clearly suffering from Parkinson's disease, and his insistence on continuing public engagements during what must have been a truly horrendous time for him speak volumes about his character. Ali was a legend both in and out of the ring, and for him to be recognised by an audience that potentially had no interest in him was a nice sight. The crowd went wild, chanting for him, but he tried to remain a quiet part of the operations, a choice I assume was made to not draw attention away from the main event. Ali was one of the greatest boxers of all time, and the reaction he received from an audience that never paid to see him is quite incredible. Former undisputed light heavyweight champion, one of the greatest light heavyweights of all time, Jose Torres, was also in attendance, with a pre-staged Pat Patterson standing next to Ali in the corner. The familiar sound of drums starts to bang down the alleyway, as the drone of the pipes calls a fellow Scotsman to battle. Piper's face is smug and arrogant, and his performance is a display of both his character as a person and the blood he carries. Rowdy Roddy Piper heads to the ring to a chorus of boos and rampaging bagpipes, a sound I'm more than familiar with personally. He's not actually Scottish. Yes, I know, but hear me out on this. Rowdy Roddy Piper was born in Canada and has part Scottish blood. Why nobody wondered back then why the Scottish guy was completely understandable to everyone else around them is something I've yet to consider personally. I have been described as hard to understand by other Scottish people. Piper had a remarkable amount of character as a performer. Everything about his expressions, mannerisms, and attitude feels familiar. He looks and behaves very similar to real Scottish people. It's not something I can explain, but he appears just as Scottish as people I have met, even though he isn't. He has part, and I kind of wonder if the blood he carried was very strong, because apart from his accent, he seems Scottish in every single way. This isn't down to his kilt and the sporran, but rather to his actions and behaviours. For those who think that the kilt and the bagpipes are all exaggeration and hyperbole, I can say quite undoubtedly that you would be wrong. Okay, people don't walk around wearing kilts, usually, but when there's a big event, be it a wedding or some kind of parade, there is indeed people with bagpipes and kilts. Thousands of Scottish people wear kilts, with the sound that led us to war for centuries, smashing through the atmosphere with as much vigour and determination as human beings can muster. I am Scottish. I am a descendant of Scottish people. I can speak with authority on this. I wouldn't lie to you. That's it. I just thought I'd explain a little on how Piper's character appears to be an exaggeration, but completely isn't, particularly in an era where exaggeration, as stated previously, was rife. Paul Orndorff jumps around the ring and looks ready to knock someone out, as cowboy Bob Orton just kinda hangs around. Real American starts to play throughout the arena and the crowd immediately goes nuts. Hulkamania is no longer in its formative stages. It is now a living, breathing powerhouse of promotion for someone who would go on to become one of the most recognised figures of the decade. Mr. T comes along and looks to be doing the Clubber Lang bit again.